Yes. There's a guy named Marcus. He's 32, works in software engineering, makes good money in Portland. Every morning at 7:15, he walks into Starbucks, orders a $5 60-cent latte without thinking about it, and walks out. It's a reflex. Then there's Jennifer. She's 34, a nurse in Cleveland, also makes decent money. She does the exact same thing.
Thank you.
Same coffee, same price, same reflex. But for Marcus, that latte changes nothing. His life stays the same. For Jennifer, that latte is a weight. She feels guilty about it, she tracks it, she thinks if she just cut the coffee, everything would fix itself. Both of these people buy the same drink, but one of them is living a completely different financial reality. If you're someone who feels guilty about small purchases but can't figure out why you're not getting ahead, subscribe and like this video. It will help more than you think.
To have you join. You've heard the advice 1,000 times. Stop buying lattes, invest the money, become rich. It's become a cliche because it feels true on the surface. It's simple. It's something you can control. And that's exactly why it misses the point entirely. The latte has become the scapegoat for a much bigger problem that nobody wants to face. People blame it because it's tangible. You can see the $5.60 leave your hand. You can count the days you bought coffee instead of saving. It feels like you have power over it. But here's what actually happened. The latte shaming narrative distracted you from the real issue. It made you feel like your problem was personal discipline. It wasn't. Your problem was something far bigger that you never even looked at. The real enemy isn't the coffee. It's what I call lifestyle infrastructure. The entire invisible structure that makes your daily existence possible and sustainable. It's the rent you pay, the car you drive, the subscriptions you don't cancel, the neighborhoods you chose, the restaurants you frequent, the quality standards you've internalized so deeply you don't even see them as choices anymore. They just feel like the price of being you. And that price is quietly destroying everything. Your latte isn't the leak in the boat. It's the speedboat you didn't realize you were running.
Let me show you what I mean. Let's look at Marcus first. He makes $95,000 a year after taxes, about $5,900 per month. Here's his infrastructure. His apartment in a nice Portland neighborhood is $1,850 per month. His car payment is $180. He has a car insurance policy at $140. His phone, streaming services, gym membership, and apps, that's roughly $200. Dining out, coffee, casual spending, that's about $400 a month. Just these things alone add up to $2,770 every single month. That's the cost of his life before he buys a single grocery item, pays a utility bill, or saves a penny. Now let's look at Jennifer. She makes $62,000 after taxes, about $3,850 per month. Her infrastructure is different. She shares a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate. Her half is $600. She paid off her car 5 years ago, so no car payment, just insurance at $90. Her subscriptions and apps are minimal, about $20 a month. She eats out maybe twice a week, so dining and coffee combined is around $50 a month. Her infrastructure costs are $760 per month. Here's where this matters. Marcus's infrastructure costs him 47% of his income. Jennifer's costs her 20%. Same city, similar jobs, completely different financial permission structures. Marcus's latte costs about $1,800 yearly. For him, that's 0.3% of his income. It doesn't matter. He could eliminate it and his life stays the same. The latte is invisible because his infrastructure is so expensive that everything else disappears into the noise. Jennifer's latte is $1,200 a year. For her, that's 3.1% of her discretionary income, the part not locked into infrastructure. So when she buys that coffee, she feels it. Not because the coffee is expensive, but because her margins are tight. Jennifer blames the latte. She thinks cutting coffee fixes everything. But the problem isn't the coffee. It's that her entire life is built on a structure that leaves almost no room for anything. Marcus doesn't think about the latte because he has luxury built into his infrastructure. He can afford carelessness. Jennifer can't. She blames the one small thing she can see, the coffee. But here's the real moment. The latte isn't the problem for either of them.
Do you ever wonder where they are taking us?
And neither one of them is looking at it.
As long as
This
Welcome.
is where it gets uncomfortable.
Today we're looking at
The latte didn't make your life expensive. Your choices did. But those choices didn't feel like choices when you made them. They felt inevitable. You didn't choose $1,850 rent. You chose the neighborhood.
Perfect today.
You wanted the walkability.
It really is.
You wanted the
We should
reputation.
do this more often.
You wanted to be close to the good coffee shops and the nightlife and the kind of people who live there. So the expensive rent was the price of those choices. You didn't choose a car payment. You chose the car. Maybe you wanted
This
the
is incredible,
reliability
Marcus.
or the safety rating or the fact that your friends drive one. So the payment was inevitable. You didn't choose to eat out 4 times a week.
I'm
You
just
chose
saying,
a
that was
life where
definitely the
eating out
best
is
part of the
normal.
trip.
You
Cheers,
chose
everyone.
social circles where dinner is how you maintain friendships.
wonderful
You chose work schedules where cooking feels impossible. So the $400 a month in restaurants became the price of your social life. And then you blame the coffee. This is what I call lifestyle lock-in. Once you've built a life at a certain cost, you can't easily rebuild it cheaper. Jennifer could technically move to a cheaper apartment, but that means leaving her neighborhood, changing her commute, maybe changing her social circle. It's not just $600 cheaper rent, it's rebuilding her entire life. So she doesn't move, she stays, and she blames the coffee. Marcus could do the same mental math. He could move to a cheaper place, sell his car, stop eating out, but he won't. Because at his income level, his infrastructure feels optional, not urgent. His problem feels like a choice. He could change it if he wanted to. Jennifer's feels like a cage because she has much less margin to experiment with. But here's the thing. Marcus is in more danger than he realizes. His infrastructure is so expensive that any disruption, a job loss, medical emergency, economic recession, doesn't just tighten his margins. It destroys them. He's so far extended into his income that he has almost no buffer. He just doesn't feel it yet because the numbers are big enough to hide the fragility. Jennifer feels fragile because she is fragile, but at least she knows it. She's aware of the structure. She's just blaming the wrong part of it. Both of them are living in cages. Marcus's cage is gilded. Jennifer's cage is bare. But they're both cages, and neither one of them looks at the bars. So what do you actually do about this? Start by auditing your lifestyle infrastructure.
clearly demonstrates
Write down what it costs to be you every month. Not groceries or gas, the baseline.
The
Rent,
Premium City Living
transportation,
subscription includes
insurance,
comprehensive
subscriptions,
home and auto
memberships.
coverage.
Calculated. Most people never do. Money disappears, but they don't know where. Once you know the number, separate the decision from the symptom. The latte is a symptom. If you cut coffee and the infrastructure doesn't change, nothing actually changed. Jennifer cuts her coffee, saves $1,200 a year. Then what? Rent is still $600. Infrastructure is still consuming her. But if she negotiated rent down $100 a month, she'd save $1,200 per month, 12 times more powerful. Third, build from intention, not habit. Ask yourself, do I want this apartment because I chose it or because I got used to it? Do I need this car payment because it serves me or because I was seduced? Once you ask honestly, you see leverage. I've watched dozens of people cut small purchases and stay in the same place because they never touched the structure. The people who actually made it out made one serious decision: moving, selling the car, changing jobs. They didn't fix it by cutting coffee. They fixed it at the infrastructure level.
Marcus still buys his latte every morning. Jennifer still buys hers. But now it's a $2.50 instant coffee from home that she actually enjoys more. Neither one of them is rich yet. But Jennifer
Based on
knows
the
what
data
she's
presented
fighting now.
here,
She's auditing her infrastructure. She's questioning every piece of it. She's looking for real leverage, not latte-sized victories. The guilt you feel about that $5 coffee isn't telling you that you lack discipline. It's telling you that something bigger is wrong. Your intuition knows this. You're just looking at the wrong thing. The latte isn't the enemy. Blindness to your own structure is. And that blindness costs you everything. Start today. Know what your life costs. Know what part of it you chose and what part chose you. Then decide if it's worth the cost. Because once you see the cage clearly, you can finally do something about it. Comment below with your biggest monthly infrastructure cost, the one thing that feels non-negotiable in your life.
This
Let's
section
see what
here
we're
is
all
ideal for the
actually
raised
paying
beds.
for.
And that account.
And if this resonated with you,
Thanks for joining
subscribe,
us today.
because we're going
As
to go
you can
much
see from the
deeper
live
into the structure
analytics,
that's
the
controlling
currency
your money.
fluctuations are